Because when all these things had happened and when Jesus died, do you remember what he said? Surely this man in Luke's gospel was innocent. And in the other gospels, surely this man was the Son of God. How could they have known that if they were not inspired by something outside of their lives? Now, folks, that's what I want to ask us. How is it with us? As we listen to the power of the Holy Spirit and His presence in the life of Jesus, in the work of His ministry, how is it with us as we try to make sense of our mission, of our purpose? Maybe we're newly divorced. We don't know what God has in store for us. We don't know if love will ever find us again. But we want to remain open to those possibilities. Maybe we're in a place of brokenness with a family member. We don't want to apologize, and we know they're not going to apologize to us. But yet the Holy Spirit urges us on, if we allow Him to speak, and if we have the ears to hear. What it is, or what is it, to try to understand these 3 points as they relate to us? Jesus had a clear sense of His mission and His purpose. The Holy Spirit was the one who reminded Him, who empowered Him, and who sustained Him. And when the Holy Spirit spoke, people listened. How does your faith inform your life Monday through Friday? When you leave here and you go to work, how free are you to talk about your faith? How free are you to live your faith? I know that some of the people in our Jesus in the Gospels class read their scriptures in preparation for our class at work. What a great testimony. When we go to work out in the gym, does our life in some way exemplify the joy within us? When we have dinner with friends? When we take a trip for work or for pleasure? When we stand in line to cast our vote, does our vote indicate what it is that we truly believe about the mission and the ministry of all Christians? When we make choices about how we spend our money? Or when we make choices about the words we will say or the words that we will withhold from speech? Are all of those measured by a mission and purpose that we understand clearly? Do we know what our mission and purpose is in life? Do we have a sense of that? Are we impassioned by that? Frederick Buechner said about those of us who are still on a journey to find our vocation and who it is that we should be, that vocation is where your deep gladness meets the world's deep need. What is it that makes you happiest, and how can you marry that to places where the world is most hurting? If you have not talked to Brad since he's gotten back from his little South American excursion, you really should. But because before he left, if ever anyone was compelled by a force beyond himself to go out there and sail that crazy boat the way he did, I won't even tell you all that, but I will tell you this now that he's told it. Do you know that twice he was held up, one by knife point and one by gun point? We are lucky that boy is still with us. And you know what? He'll do it again. Because that spirit and that drive of adventure and meeting God's people wherever he goes and looking for God's people wherever he goes is there. And it's just going to happen. He told us during his interview, I don't know if I'll live to be 25. We found that strange. I think now on this side of it we understand. Do you have something like that that drives you and pushes you? Marie Cope, I know I talk about her a lot, but you know, she's the parish nurse in this congregation and does not take one penny for what she does. Why? Because she loves it. It feeds her soul. And the pay that she gets is being able to love and care for you. In this economy, I don't know if you could chase your dreams, or if you'll even let yourself have the courage to follow them. But I know plenty of people who are doing it because they have faith to believe that things are not always as they seem. I don't know how it is that you figure that out in the Quaker Church. They form what's called a clearness committee. And if you can't figure out what path you're on, you choose some of your favorite friends and probably some that you know won't just tell you what you want, but those who will be objective about you. And you tell them whatever issue it is that you're struggling with. And then together, they sit you in a circle and begin to ask you questions that help you then find the answer and the truth within yourself. If you formed a clearness committee, who would be on your committee and why? And if you don't have one, maybe you should get one. And lastly, I say that for the church, we continue to be in this quest, as every church should, to understand, why does this United Methodist Church exist and for what reason? One of the things that we know for sure is that we have a great opportunity to be a church in ministry to families with children and youth. Because of the number of kids that we have in this congregation, I'm beginning to think surely that needs to be part of our focus. We consider ourselves an innovative, relative Christian community, which is why, folks, because of that mission to be innovative and relational and community, we're doing a Youth Eucharist. I don't have to justify that to anybody. It's part of our mission. And it's part of what the United Methodist Church is trying to do in rethinking church and a new way of sharing the gospel in the 21st century that can't always hear it the way that we've heard it. Last week we showed this video clip. We actually had a fuller one we were going to show with the General Secretary of the United Methodist Church, who gives a rationale for why we're beginning to move in this direction, but that video didn't make it to Jim. So we're going to see the same video that we saw last week, because many of you weren't able to be here because of the holiday. But it's a way to help us rethink, what if church were not just what we're doing now, but it were an action verb and a new way to hear the Holy Spirit speak in and through us. So I ask you to watch it now, asking, what is your passion and your drive? And does this meet and match some of it? Because if it does, join us in this quest of rethinking how we do church.